Hello, welcome to the City and Guilds Customer Service Specialist Level 3 update. This is a recorded presentation which can be accessed at any time. The content of this recorded presentation will look at the Level 3 Customer Service Specialist amendments and the updates associated to that. We'll also look at the work-based project proposal form, which has a new version 1.2, portfolio evidence referencing form, version 1.2, and then finish off with EPA hints and tips. So let's give a bit of an overview of where we are at. So we are currently on version 1.0 for Customer Service Specialist, and we are moving over to version 1.2. So registrations on version 1.2 will be live with City and Guilds as of the 1st of September 2025. And we will be offering our first EPAs on version 1.2 from the 29th of September 2025. Now, you may have learners currently registered on our version 1.0. If you do prefer, you can actually transfer those current learners across to version 1.2 if you prefer. If that's the case, you would need to do that on our EPA Pro platform. There are some benefits to moving over to version 1.2, and we will look at these throughout the presentation. So we do use POS codes, and our current POS code is 949412, and this will remain as there hasn't been sufficient changes to the assessment plan. This does cause a little bit of an issue for you, as you will need to make sure that any new registrations for new learners are registered on 949412 version 1.2. When locating the new paperwork for version 1.2, such as the recording forms, the EPA pack, the portfolio of evidence reference form, or even the work-based project submission form, the proposal form, etc. within EPA Pro, please do ensure you download version 1.2 for all new learners. Both versions 1.0 and versions 1.2 paperwork are still available on EPA Pro, but if you do have learners wishing to register on 1.2, please do ensure you have downloaded the correct version. Now, just to make things slightly clearer, our version control on all paperwork can be identified in the column labelled Entity Name within EPA Pro, as seen here on the right. All of our versions 1.2 paperwork is now available to download on EPA Pro. We have changed the look of our new documentation. So our new look documentation for version 1.2 has actually been split into separate documents for you. So you can see there screenshots of the relevant docs that you will need for CSS. We have a work-based project proposal form, a work-based project report submission form, a new portfolio of evidence submission form, and EPA pack for providers and employers. And just to reiterate, these can all now be downloaded immediately from EPA Pro. So let's take a little bit of time now to show you those changes within the documentation. So in order to further support learners with the work-based project proposal, we have made some convenient changes to how it looks and offered further guidance on how to complete. So let's take a look at that. I just want to highlight here some key changes we've made to our project proposal form. The first change is you will notice we have introduced a drop-down date selection option for when the apprentice makes their first submission. This is highlighted with the red circle on the left of the screenshot on the slide. We've also hyperlinked the feedback from the IEPA, meaning when you click on the click here for IEPA feedback link, it will take you directly to first submission feedback page within this document. We've introduced a single document for the proposal, meaning if the learner needs to make amendments, there's no need to resubmit a new proposal, as all feedback will be available on the same document. Please note that if a learner needs to resubmit a proposal, the date should be entered again in the same way using the drop-down calendar under first resubmission. The feedback hyperlink again will take you to the new IEPA feedback section on the page. This allows you to keep track of what's required on a resubmission should one be needed. It also allows us to have a clear audit trail of what's happened with each of the apprentices' proposal submissions. Just to note, should the project proposal not be approved, you would need to complete a new project within a new document and submit a brand new form. We have also added some supportive statements for apprentices to ensure that they are given the best chance of completing the proposal on first attempt. It's really important the apprentice takes the time, takes these on board before submitting, and a checklist of what's been submitted has also been provided, which needs to be completed. Taking a quick look now at the IEPA feedback section within the project proposal form, and you will notice the IEPA will have selected one of three options for the apprentice associated to each of the KSB statements. Either the section will be met, so a yes will be used, or yes with considerations. And if that's the case, this means there is potential scope for it to be met, but the apprentice needs to ensure they cover all aspects within the actual project itself and take on board the IEPA feedback in the next column. This should be highlighted that this area will need looking into a depth during the actual project. If no further information required has been selected, then this means the IEPA does not think the proposal will provide the correct evidence for this particular KSB area, and the apprentice needs to take on board the IEPA feedback. For ease, we have also provided the overarching KSB statements, for example, business knowledge and understanding or customer journey knowledge, as well as the specific knowledge, skills and behaviours such as K1, K8, etc., like you can see there on the slide. So moving on now to the new look portfolio evidence referencing form, highlighting any changes. As with the project proposal form, we've continued the theme of adding a new drop-down calendar for the declaration date. So it does make life a lot easier for apprentices when completing the evidence referencing form. And once again, you'll see we have also added in the referencing against the knowledge, skills and behaviours, or KSBs, and highlighted which performance criteria these are working towards, such as P1, P2, P7, P10, etc. The KSBs are essentially the umbrella in which the pass and distinction criteria sit under. As per normal, it's imperative that a PDP is submitted, as this will help with the professional discussion in which this is discussed. We do have a template for the PDP, which we strongly suggest apprentices use. So now we've looked at the new documentation, let's just cover EPA hints and tips for the customer service specialist. So no change here, but please do not use embedded documents when submitting evidence, as these are often difficult to open and IEPAs will not have access to internal systems. Please do ensure that all evidence that is mapped in the recording form is actually submitted. Occasionally we do have evidence referenced in the recording form and then forgotten to be submitted, so please do check that. Use the new documentation for all learners registered on version 1.2 only. If you are still having learners on version 1.0, then please use the version 1.0 documentation. All current apprentices registered on version 1.0 to use version 1.0 documents only, and the EPA pack and new recording forms are now available on our EPA Pro platform. Please do keep an eye out on EPA Pro for any new documentation. Like I mentioned previously, please do encourage apprentices to use the City and Guilds PDP template that will support the professional discussion. And for those of you with a keen eye, you will have realised that B1 criteria from business knowledge and understanding has actually been removed in version 1.2. It still does stand in version 1.0. Which then begs the question, do you transfer any existing learners on version 1.0 across to version 1.2? And of course, you can do this should you wish, and you would do this in EPA Pro. Big thanks from myself for listening to this short recorded presentation. If you do require further support on any of the business skills products, please do contact myself, Dom Green, at dominic.green@cityandguilds.com, and I will be more than happy to support.